Everyone. We are here this evening to engage in the civic discussion and understand candidates' vision for the Country Board of Education.
Hello, everyone. My name is Noah. We'd like to introduce our candidates to our student-led forum tonight. We have Miss Amy Sharp and Miss Bonnie Hamilton.
Hello everyone, my name is Jade and I attend Elite Public Schools, currently a senior. For this forum, we have guidelines. The format consists of time limits for answers, which is 1 minute per question. The students will ask the questions with predetermined topics and each candidate will take turns answering the question first. The students are moderating and managing the event with minimal support from adults. Our ground rules consist of civil discourse, no interruptions, respect for time limits, and etc. At this time, we are going to allow candidates to introduce themselves and tell us a brief background. Let's start with Ms. Sharp and then Ms. Hamilton. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for hosting us tonight. I really appreciate youth stepping up and getting involved because the decisions we make today are going to have the most impact on you and your future. I'm Amy Sharp and I serve on the Solano County Board of Education representing Area 2. I ran for the Board of Education in 2016 as a way to honor my nieces who had been a part of county special education programs before they passed away. During that time, I witnessed a lot of good from a great many committed people, but I also saw a system that ties the hands of teachers and wastes tremendous amounts of money doing it. Our kids aren't one size fits all, and their education shouldn't be either. I believe in empowering parents and families to make the best choices for their students. When our young people graduate from our schools, we want them to be prepared for happy and successful lives, whether their future is an apprenticeship program, community college, a 4-year university, or directly to a career. I'm a mom first. I know that parents know their kids better than anyone and should be the leaders in the education process for their children. Creating choices for parents and choices for communities must be a key part of the future of education. Over the last 8 years, I've gotten very involved in budget issues, making sure that every dollar we have for education is spent wisely. I'm proud of my successful push for direct-to-classroom grants for teachers that has kept teachers from paying out of pocket and taxpayer dollars in classrooms, and for a special education transfer coordinator that ensures schools are prepared to receive students from day one. I was elected by my colleagues across the county and unanimously by my board to represent Solano schools at the California School Boards Association. And I'm honored to have wide bipartisan support for my reelection, and I am a very proud charter school supporter. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Shall I go? Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Bonnie Hamilton and thrilled to be here this evening to talk about issues that are important to you. I'm a pediatrician, mom, and community volunteer and have decades of expertise and practical experience caring for local kids and families. Education has been my pathway to opportunity. It wasn't easy growing up, losing my father at a young age and witnessing the challenges my mother faced raising me and my 4 brothers on her own. In high school, I attended vocational technical school in commercial art, and I then worked to put myself through college and chose to pursue a career in medicine. As a parent, I have firsthand experience in advocating for appropriate educational services for my daughter who struggled due to her profound right-sided deafness, and in turn have been able to help multiple parents advocate effectively for their children. I worked closely with teachers, school administration, and the deaf and hard of hearing services through the Solano Office of Education. I was fully engaged throughout my daughter's educational journey and served on her school site councils both at Bigel Wilson and Armio High School. With hard work, tenacity, and some amazing teachers, my daughter graduated with honors and went on to college and graduate school. She is now a biotech scientist living in San Diego. In our community, I volunteered as a court-appointed special advocate and worked closely with children and youth in the child welfare system and the juvenile court system. I also served on the board of the Solano Library Foundation, supporting literacy programs in Solano County, such as Reach Out and Read. On the Board of Education, I'll work to ensure our schools are places where every student can find opportunity, purpose, and success, whether they are college-bound or choose to learn a valuable trade. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Good evening. My name is Jaira Franklin. I am a junior attending Elite Public Schools, and speak of questions, I have 2 questions to ask both candidates. Ms. Hamilton, I would like you to answer first, then Ms. Sharp, I would like you to reply after. My question is, are there any upcoming issues that you've been working on or researching that are crucial to our education in Solano County?
Well, I mean, there are a number of things. I mean, for me, I look at the whole child, the whole person, and look at what their challenges are in their life and how it's affecting their education. I mean, if you're hungry, you're not going to learn well. If you're scared or concerned about your family, if you're concerned about your safety, even things like menstrual poverty, not having access to appropriate, menstrual supplies, keep girls out of school. So looking at those issues that are barriers to someone's education is a primary focus of mine. And keeping in mind, we have to take every child, every youth, and look at the challenges that they face as individuals. So that, I think, is where I will leave that at this point. Thank you, Jaya.
My turn? Yes, okay. I would say this is particularly important to you, Jaya, as an elite student. Your school is coming up for renewal in the next 4 years, and that's going to be a tough vote and a battle for you guys to keep your school open. I'm proud to be one of the votes that authorized you in the first place, and get you guys doing the wonderful work that Dr. Bishop and your team at Elite is achieving. The other thing would be the budget coming up here at the state. There is Prop 98 guarantees you a piece of the pie, but that pie is a lot smaller because California has spent a lot of money and now it's time to start paying stuff back, and we just don't have as much money. So those education dollars are going to have to stretch farther. You're going to have to do more with less. And that's important that we're advocating for proper funding for schools and that we're spending that money wisely.
Thank you. Now for my second question, Ms. Sharp, I would like you to answer first, then Ms. Hamilton, please reply after. My second question is, Trustee Sharp, what have you accomplished since you have been in office?
Okay, well, I'm happy to answer. That's a great question. In my 8 years, I am really proud of, we were getting reports, and I had witnessed it with my nieces, that when special education students showed up to school the first day, programs weren't there, buses didn't show up, teachers weren't trained to handle the different things that these students needed. And we got a transfer coordinator in there who is making sure we're checking off the boxes before day one so that when those students show up, everything's in place and they're ready to welcome them for a great school year just from day one. Also, those direct-to-teacher grants before, our teachers were paying for some of those extras in classrooms that students and parents appreciate and that they need to make sure they're maximizing those classroom hours. And it was coming out of their pocket. And we developed a grant program that now the taxpayer dollars are going straight to the classroom and not coming out of pocketbooks, and the students are getting what they need for those programs. I've also been very involved in the budget, making sure that programs that we're spending money on are reaping the rewards that we're expecting, and we tweak and make things better in programs that need it, and we cut programs that aren't working and find new ones that are.
And I am not in that particular role at this point, but I will comment on some of the things Ms. Sharp said. I would totally agree with her for the readiness for kids who have special needs. I mean, I know with my own daughter, even though she had been diagnosed in kindergarten with her deafness, she didn't receive services until the middle of first grade, which put her sorely behind in her learning. And we had to enroll her in special ed just for her to catch up and to keep on top of what she had missed in those months, those vital months that she missed services that she should have been receiving. And that because there was a miscommunication, because people were not familiar with what the county could offer the schools, that's how that happened. So I appreciate that. And so I just echo that concern and something that I think is vitally important. Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Hamilton, what would you actually do differently than Ms. Sharp?
Well, I think that the difference is that I personally feel like, well, honestly, Ms. Sharp serves in my district, and personally, I feel like I could represent my district better than Ms. Sharp could. So that's just the reality of what I feel personally. And I've decided that I'm going to run in this seat for that very purpose. What I would do differently is I would bring a different perspective. I believe that the Board of Education has been very, hasn't had much change over years and years. And, I think that it might be time to put a little innovation into the Board of Education as well as into the county. So that's why I'm taking this role. This is what y'all are about, right? How you civically engage to change what you see is not working well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello and good evening all. My name is Marquise McLeod and I am a senior at Elite Public Schools. And I have 2 questions for the both of you as well. Ms. Hamilton, if you could answer this first question first, and then Ms. Sharp, if you could follow up. The question is, what are your plans to ensure the physical and emotional safety for students?
Wow, that's my primary focus, is the well-being, the health, the safety of our young people, our community members. And that's what I've been doing for decades, and taking care of tens of thousands of children, youth, and families. Again, looking at the whole child, approaching it, looking at if you have food insecurity, again, if you live in an area that isn't safe to walk to the store or walk to the bus station. I mean, there's so many aspects of this, and to take a perspective of the whole situation and everything that's affecting children. So that's where I'll leave that. Thank you.
Is it possible to have you repeat the question, please?
Yes, I'm sorry. The question was, what are your plans to ensure the physical and emotional safety of students?
Okay, well, I'm happy to report that the County Office of Education and the Board of Education has been a driver, not just in Solano County, but across the state in our innovative mental health outreach and programs. We are constantly being asked by different school districts and different county offices throughout the state to come share what we're doing in our county because it is working so well. We have Nikki Parr, who is in charge of our mental health services, and we have wellness centers that have popped up all over the county thanks to Ms. Parr, or Dr. Parr actually. And these are great spaces when they're having a day or whatever issues they're dealing with. They can go to this safe space where they can go get just decompress from the day, get the help they need, resources that they need. And this is serving students well and giving them a place to be a safe place to go when they're dealing with an issue that is emotional or mental or physical safety. They have this place that's safe. If when reelected, I intend to let's keep that program going and make sure every school in Solano County has that resource available to our kids. Thank you.
For my next question, if you could answer first, Ms. Sharp, and then Ms. Hamilton, if you could follow up afterwards. How would you address mental health needs and services for students?
Oh, thank you for the question. I would start by continuing our work with the wellness centers, but then I would go, I think we need to be asking you guys, the student leaders, students, what's going on. My kids are grown. I'm not in the schools on a daily basis and doing that pick up and drop off. And I think sometimes we forget that as parents and as educators and as elected board members, that we don't necessarily know what the kids need, that we have a perception of what they need, but we need to be getting out there and asking you guys what the real issues are so that we can deal with the issues that are actually an issue for you guys, and make sure that we're giving you the support and the resources to be able to address those things. And I would tell you, I think it starts with being a friend, making sure everybody knows that kid that, you know, sits alone at the lunch table or doesn't necessarily have a friend group. And that's where it starts, being a friend to every student to try to make it a better school situation for everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, I would echo everything Ms. Sharp said. I also would add, and this gets back to the question about safety, is, you know, having programs on mindfulness or on nonviolent communication, you know, also on diversity, on learning about different cultures and different perspectives. That is so important. I mean, I had the good fortune myself of, you know, being bused during the 70s to a predominantly Black high school. I graduated from Booker T. Washington High School, and that experience opened up my eyes to the diversity and how I could learn about people and cultures, and it breaks down those barriers that sometimes put people apart from each other, and that is so important. As far as mental health, I think it's important to identify. I think you're right, Ms. Sharp, about, you know, that kids who's sitting by themselves, who seems isolated, to really have the teachers be able to identify. Sometimes I think teachers, you know, they're overwhelmed and they're busy and they might not identify it, but really hone that down to educate them as far as how to pick up signs of children in distress in those regards. So thank you for the question. Great questions.
Hi again. Ms. Hamilton, if you would answer this question first, and then Ms. Sharp. How would you allocate budget resources to support school programs and improve facilities?
Well, I mean, there is definitely a chronic underfunding in education here in Solano County. And that is something that needs to change. So looking at things like how to reduce waste, and how, you know, how we can source locally food, services, so that we're not paying for things to be shipped in, so to speak. Also, there are other ways to innovate, you know, put up solar panels on parking lots and on all the schools so that we can become energy independent. And also that would bring in money. So those resources could be used towards those programs. And again, you know, it's not all about, you know, reading, writing, and arithmetic. You know, we have to take into consideration the challenges that each student faces as an individual in our community. Thank you.
Now, Ms. Sharp.
Thank you. First, I would say that we need to make sure that we're focusing the money that we're getting into our classrooms. We need to be evaluating the programs and the things that we're doing to make sure that we're spending money wisely. And again, cutting programs that aren't working, tweaking the ones that just need a little something, and coming up with new programs that filled void. But we need to really look at what's really happening in the state of California, and that's the bureaucracy that we've created in Sacramento. That the money is raised, sent to Sacramento, and then the schools are divvied it back based on attendance and other programs that the state deems appropriate, and then the schools have to make their budget work. I assure you, there's not a Department of Education office building up in Sacramento that isn't nicer than a lot of your classrooms, and that is just wrong. Decisions about local funding, decisions about education funding need to be made locally by the teachers and the parents and the community at large that are paying these taxpayer dollars and putting their students in the schools. These are not decisions that should be being made in Sacramento by people that don't know what's going on in Vacaville or Vallejo or Dixon or Fairfield or Rio Vista.
Hello, my name is Rianne. Good evening. And I have two questions for the both of you. And if I could have Ms. Sharp answer first and then Ms. Hamilton for the first one, is what is your position on charter schools?
Well, I absolutely support charter schools. You can look at my 8 years of voting record, and I've voted for every great charter school that's come before me. I've seen the great work that they're doing, and not only have I voted for them, but I have been a strong supporter, speaking up when they needed it. And I'm happy to do that. I'm seeing the wonderful results we're seeing from Elite and Kairos and the other charter schools in Solano County. And I think that's something important that we need to be focused on. Having choice in education is absolutely critical. You need to have a mix of schools so that parents can find the school that works best for their child. That whole kids aren't one size fits all, their schools aren't either, and they're going to need to find the one that works best for them.
And for me, I feel like it depends on the charter school, and it depends on the circumstance. It depends on what services they're providing that can't be provided in the regular public school setting. If those services, you don't want to duplicate services, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make fiscal sense. It doesn't make logistic sense. I think there are many reasons that different charter schools exist, and there are different, like I said, there are different types. So I would have to evaluate case by case a certain charter schools. I mean, so that's basically it.
Okay,
Thank you.
And for my second question is, what do you see in the future of charter schools in Solano County? And if Ms. Hamilton could answer first, and then Ms. Sharp will follow.
Well, and so I really believe that charter schools are a helpful thing, particularly if they fill a niche. And if they are providing, again, something that is not provided through the regular public schools. I'm a strong proponent of public education. I mean, we have a lot of kids that we need to educate. Those resources need to go into that pot that's going to educate all those kids. I went to public school. My daughter went to public school. We looked at going to different schools, but they couldn't provide the services that she needed at those schools. So in that, there can be selection, like a self-selection and an exclusion as well, based on certain issues. So she needed deaf and hard of hearing services, and that wasn't something that she could get, in a private school. Or she would have to go outside of her regular school to get those services. So those are some of the considerations. But again, it's a case by case issue, basically. Thank you.
Okay. Well, actually, I want to go ahead and clarify something for Dr. Hamilton. Charter schools are most certainly a public school. They're not private schools. They're public schools. These are public charter schools.
And I didn't say they weren't.
You're interrupting.
Yeah.
You're interrupting. We agreed to rules. They are public schools, very much the same as any traditional school in who can attend. They're schools of choice that parents choose to go to as opposed to being shuttled to based on where they live. And they offer an opportunity to level the playing field for all students. This is a great opportunity for us to make all the kids have an opportunity at the best education possible, and their parents should be making the decisions. Charter schools, as far as your question goes, charter schools face in the future some very tough renewal votes, especially elite in the next 4 years. They're going to need strong support to continue the mission that they're on. And then charter schools are also facing tough laws at the state. Legislators in Sacramento want to hold charter schools responsible for the failings of our districts when they haven't managed their finances properly. That's wrong. We shouldn't be standing in the way. And I can tell you that I proudly support charter schools, always looking for the right thing. But I don't have any endorsements from organizations that would make me pledge not to vote for charter schools. And my opponent can't say that. Thank you.
Thank you for your thank you.
Okay, now each candidate will have 1 minute to summarize their platform and vision for the County Board of Education. Ms. Sharp, you could start first.
Thank you. I want to tell you, well done, students. I really appreciate the opportunity to spend time with you tonight. I hope I was able to answer your questions, and in answering those and my opening statement, you've got a clear picture of who I am and the representation I have given for the last 8 years and will continue to do for the next 4 years. I hope it offered insight into how I do my job as a trustee. And there were a couple of you that are seniors. So if you're voting this year, I would love to earn your vote in the upcoming election, November 5th. If you liked what I had to say, please tell your friends and family and your parents. Every vote counts, and I would love to have them. Great job tonight. The future looks bright with you guys up and coming. Thank you so much.
And thank you for inviting me to speak with you. I love hearing what's important to you. I've found opportunity through my own education, and I'd like to help ensure that every child has full access to their education and is able to reach their highest potential. Enriching the lives of our children and youth improves our community and helps create a thriving future for everyone. I'll be honest, we may not always see eye to eye, but you have my word that I'll work to the best of my ability and collaborate with you to come up with better solutions than we could have come up with independently. I mean, I think that is what describes a true democracy, is having two issues that the sum of them, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Thank you for your time and attention, and best wishes to all of you in your future endeavors. And please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to have deeper conversations about the issues that are important to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
On the behalf of us all, I would like to thank the candidates for their participation and the audience for attending.
And as stated before, this event is meant to encourage civic engagement and remind students of the importance of their voices in shaping the future. Thank you, everybody.
All right.